You are down with.
Yo, Dave.
What up?
Drop the beat.
We like it old school.
Tuesday night.
What you listening to?
The brothers from the 818.
91331.
Pacoima, California.
What's up, Dave?
What's up, Caleb? Real and relevant conversation.
No script.
We invite you into our conversation.
What's going on, people?
You are down with.
The brothers from the 818.
What's going on, people? What's going on? It is Tuesday night, and you know what time it is. You are back with the brothers from the 818. My name is Dave, as you know, and I'm here with my man, 50 Grand, as you know. Caleb, what's going on with you?
You are down with the brothers from the 818. What's up, Dave? What's going on, brother?
I can't call it. It's an interesting Tuesday, man. I love this Tuesday for a whole lot of reasons. You want to know the number one reason I love this Tuesday?
Why are you excited on this Tuesday, man? What's going on?
I'm excited because right now in Washington, D.C. is midnight. So that means it's January 20th and we got 4-5 no more. You know what I'm saying? I know he ain't officially sworn in until whatever time Biden comes in to be number 46. But we done with Trump, at least from that office, man. I just got to throw that out there as part of my check-in. I'm thrilled right now.
Time's up. Where's the U-Haul truck? Nah, man. I don't want to be disrespectful to our president. Our president still has a couple more minutes, a couple more hours, minutes left in his presidency. But I am happy to see Donald J. Trump out the door.
For sure.
Time to go. Time to go.
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Where's Ray Charles on that here? Got a couple other things for you. Check out the shirt. Can you see that?
What you got, bro? What you rocking, man?
Got some brothers from the 818 swag. Where your swag at, man? You got anything yet?
What had happened was
Let
me see your shirt again, man. What you doing? What you got? Let me see.
It's the hashtags. I got, this from the 818, got our names on it.
Oh, that's nice, man. That's nice.
So one thing I want to say to you, since you ain't got your swag yet, and everybody else out there who may decide to order something, when you start a merchandise store, the one thing you want to make sure is that you're pushing quality products, right? You get some stuff and, it's poor quality or whatever, that'll make you be like, last thing you want to do is put out there some stuff that people was interested in, then they get it, it's flimsy, or it's whatever, or they felt they spent too much money. So I feel good about that, man. I feel good about that. I picked up this pea hat today. I was walking by a store and I saw it. I just went and grabbed it. I don't see your pea hat today, but I figured I need to rock a Pacoima hat, especially today. That's what's up. That's what's up. This is the start, for all of you out there, of our Roses from the Concrete series, right? And there's a whole lot of references to that. But as you know, don't nothing grow out of concrete, but weeds from the cracks. But every once in a while, you see something beautiful that comes out of it. Tonight, the brothers from the 818 are pleased to bring you a jewel, a true rose out the 818. We were pleased to make her acquaintance. She's a Instagram influencer. She is a staple in the community of the San Fernando Valley, and her name is Chef Roxie. Where you at? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, guys? Hey!
There you are. Hey. There she is.
I got a little excited there. Don't mind me.
So, all good, all good. How you doing?
I'm good. Can I say congratulations, second season, right?
Second
Yes.
season. Thank you. We received that.
That's right. Way to go. Way to go. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
It was great to hear about Brothers from the 818. You guys know my hometown, Pacoima. My catchphrase is I'm just a kid from Pacoima out here living my dream. serving up happy. And I'm a chef.
I love that. I love that. Well, normally our first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, you jumped right in with that. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself. And like I said, we'll jump in with you and just kind of have a good conversation with you.
All right. I would say it has to definitely start with both my grandmothers. My mom's mom is from Monroe, North Carolina. My father's mother is from Little Rock, Arkansas. And it's just ironic and neat that they both come from large families. Both their families landed in Pacoima many, many years ago. And basically that's where my mom, my dad, my aunties, my uncles were raised. So naturally, when my mom and dad started making their family, I have an older sister. I'm the second born. I have been born, raised in Pacoima. That's where I've always lived. My parents still stay in the same house. And all those places you talk about, Keysburger, McClay Junior High, where my sister went, those are all staples. But I always say it started with my two grandmothers because Pacoima during that time when families migrated there, that was like the one city that gave an opportunity for people of color. And I really give my grandmothers that credit. My mom's mom and my dad's mom fed a lot of people. So obviously it runs in the family. And it's just been a great experience. My parents raised me to really be proud of where I came from. We had statistics, obviously there was gang violence and other things, but I mean, there's some powerful people that came out of Pacoima, leaders. And I've always grown up with that sense of pride. Most people know I'm always repping Pacoima no matter what. I'm still in the Valley to this day. And I love being able to give back now with me being a chef, back to my community, Pacoima 818 and the San Fernando Valley, hands down, period.
All right, there's our show. All right, see y'all later.
Coming out.
No,
Yeah, that was it.
There's more, I promise.
That's what's up. Well, one of my, so we did check out your website, and we'll post some links in there, YayaRoxie.online. Check her out. But on your website, it says, every beginning has a story.
That's right.
So, I'm from Pacoima, Caleb's from Pacoima. To hear you describe it that way is such a joy, right? Because you don't hear that a lot. And definitely we wasn't saying that about that growing up in it. So, hearing you speak on Pacoima that way, especially where you said it was one of the original cities where there were opportunities for people of color.
Absolutely.
To actually do some things. And Pacoima's changed a lot, for the last 3 years. And even driving through there now is not the same Pacoima that I remember, but it's still the same Pacoima that I know, right?
Exactly.
And I still see the same corners. I still see the same people. I'm sure if I go knock on some of them same doors, such as if I went to Caleb's father's house, I might get hit, but he'll be there because his house is still there. And the block is still the block, the corner is still the corner. So, I just love that. I love that.
Exactly.
So,
go ahead.
You mentioned a lot of food already. You mentioned a lot of food. You mentioned mama and mama's mama. You mentioned Keys burgers. I'm just kind of hungry, I mean,
I know, me too.
I on your website, there's so much food on your website. So you said that, would you tell us who would you say that really just put your hand put a spoon in your hand and said, this is how you do it, girl?
I have to give that credit to my mother. May she rest in heaven. And that's my father's mother, grandmother. And I would say that because I always share with most people know the stories that mother is the one who, from maybe 3, 4, that I would sit at the kitchen table with. And I would see her drinking coffee and I thought, I want some too. And she would say, okay, get Rox a cup. And now looking back, I mean, health, nutrition, that's not the point, but it was the connection around that kitchen table that those conversations I had with her when we started cooking more and more, especially I think when I got older. My mom always cooked. My mom tells me stories of probably before I could really fully talk, where I would get lost in the grocery store and I would always be in produce. One time I was caught eating a bunch of apples in produce, and they had made an announcement over the intercom, and my sister and my mom are looking for me in the store. And my mom said as soon as she heard the announcement, she knew in her spirit that that was me, her child. And so there's always been this connection to food. Some way I saw my aunts, I mean, just everybody always, when it was gathered around the kitchen table, food that brings people together. I even saw that even growing up, I think junior high, when I would go off to my friend's house. People of different cultures. I mean, I grew up with brown and black were pretty close together. So, I mean, I have a strong family of all different shades and colors and cultures. And I mean, I saw that universal principle in different cultures. I mean, it was something about food that gathered people together. But my mother definitely was the one who sat down and said, oh, Rox, you can do this a little different with cabbage, or, you know, this is how you can tweak cornbread, and this is why we do this, and how they would take simple, basic ingredients and they would literally feed everybody. People that would stop by randomly, unexpected, or if we were having a family dinner, how everybody had a plate, if not two. You know what I mean? Those kind of things that you know, people do go to school to learn about basically how do you feed 25 people, 100 people, 2,000 people. Those were the things that my ancestors, they just knew. It wasn't that they took classes. It was just something that it was, okay, this can stretch. You can make this, feed this many, and still bring comfort and bellies are full. Those are the things that I think, if I'm fortunate enough that I'll build and continue to build a strong career as being a chef with.
So a couple things. You mentioned that mother called you Rox. So does anybody else call you Rox? Can we call you?
Oh yeah. Oh, uncles. They've got a few pet names, but definitely Rox is pretty much standard. My closest of close call me Rox. Most people, no one formally calls me Chef Roxanne. It's either Chef Roxie. And like I said, the close ones definitely call me Rox. My mom still calls me Rox to this day.
Okay. So Rox from the 91331. That's what we'll W on the.
That's right.
You started early. So
yes.
And just so I could say it, I got lost in the grocery store once too, but they didn't find me in produce. They found me in the chips aisle. I love to read it. But what's the first meal that you can remember cooking?
I think from what I remember is in the mornings, because breakfast was pretty big. For breakfast, we used to kind of get up early. And I'm still a breakfast person to this day. But I do have memories of my sister where I would say, I want to cook. And my sister didn't really care to cook as much. She knew that she would marry a man that would know how to cook, which my brother-in-law is a fantastic cook. So I do remember her teaching me, it's cheese toast. So literally it's basic butter on the toast. You put the most basic yellow cheese and you put cinnamon and sugar. And you kind of stick it in the broiler. You kind of let it get all bubbly and toast it on top, pop it out. She used to cut it at an angle for me. And let me tell you, to a little kid to watch, you know, the cheese kind of melt, started to bubble. I thought that was magic. But so simple, the cinnamon, the sugar with the cheddar, it is one of the best. To this day, it's still one of the best things that I can eat. And I still make from time to time when I have that craving.
Wow.
I'm going to make some cheese toast with cinnamon tomorrow.
And don't forget the sugar.
and the sugar. You know, I'm not a, how should I say this, Rock? How should I say this, Dave? I don't really cook, right? I don't really cook. I mean, I can get in there and you know, scratch up something that's edible, right? But I'm not really a cooker, right? And so for someone like me, that don't cook very much, I could barbecue now. Don't get it twisted, Dave.
You're not started.
Right. For someone like me that don't cook very much, what's a quick and easy meal besides what you just said with the grilled cheese that you would that you would suggest that I whip up?
Well, I always tell people, if you're not afraid to get in front of the stove, some of your go-to and easy favorites really is pasta. Pasta is one of those universal things. It just requires you to put some water in a pot, put it on the stove, boil it for a little bit. Now the instructions are right there. But literally once you boil that pasta and then you take out a second pot, you literally can just about put anything in pasta and have it come together with a little bit of fat, which is either like your olive oils, you can do a little bit of butter. But I mean, you literally can create the balance of kind of like that sweet, savory to kind of get those taste buds dancing, and literally in probably under like 15 minutes, which I tell people, pasta is one of those go-to favorites. Rice, now you can mess up some rice because trust me, I had to learn a few times.
And I have.
You're right. But pasta, I mean, you really to mess up pasta, you gotta really be, it's gotta be interesting. But I would definitely say pasta. Another thing is when cooking meats, I tell people if you're just not sure about cooking, don't do chicken. It's not one of those things that you can rush or undercook because it can kill you. And to be all serious and fairness, and a lot of times when people are in that rush, and I remember being in the kitchen, like, I'm waiting on my chicken, can I get my chicken? Can I get my, it's like, it's got to cook the proper time, you know what I mean? So that you're safe, I'm safe, and then we can all be happy together. But stay away from chicken, but cook a lot of your pastas. Stay away, like the pastas, your vegetables, those kind of different things come together very easily. And you can wow yourself. Like I always tell people, the best thing is introduce yourself to some colorful produce, get some pasta and get whatever oil you like. And literally you will have literally a dozen meals before you know it. And it's one of those things, easy, quick, fast for somebody who doesn't like to cook.
Thank you.
I have to share this. Caleb always gets on my case about telling his business, right? But the year is 1984, 85, 1985. You were born.
You're going to do
right?
it.
So 1985, we hanging out at the house and we hungry, ain't no parents home or whatever. And we decided to make some spaghetti because we found a jar of ragu, right?
There you go.
And we found some spaghetti. And Caleb was like, well, I'll do the pasta. We wouldn't call it pasta. He said, I'll do the spaghetti, you do the sauce. I was like, all right. So, let's fast forward. I'll tell you what happened in a minute, but fast forward a couple months later, we're on a field trip with McClay Junior High to San Francisco. And we went to the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't know if you've ever been to the Golden Gate Bridge, but when you get there, they show you a cross section of the bridge and what the cables look like all intertwined together. And that's what the pasta looked like. And I was so whenever I get a chance, now granted, this is 1985, we're talking 35 years ago. He's learned to cook a whole lot better than that since. I think that's probably the first time me and him were ever in the kitchen together and said, we hungry, we gonna make something. We ate it too, but it was, that was some, twisted together thick ropes of pasta. I just remember.
Rox, I didn't drain it. I didn't put any other water on top of it. I just pulled it right out of the hot water and put it on the plate.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
I didn't know anything.
And you didn't have any fat to kind of help it loosen up and stuff. So that's
that's
a classic mistake. That's classic.
But Rox, let me just tell you this too. He didn't tell me any different, and he didn't know any different. Let's move on.
Let's move on. All right. So here's I could appreciate the, if you got to get in the kitchen, you hear that about chicken all the time. You need time to do chicken, and ain't no rush. You gotta, because like I said, it will kill you.
It will.
But so I heard, I really didn't hear it. This is a fake news statement in honor of our outgoing president, right? So Barack and Michelle are going to do a layover in Pacoima. They're going to land at Whiteman Airport, and they're going to, they're going to come by, Chef Roxie, Chef Roxanne for dinner, right? And this is now, you're not just throwing something together.
That's right.
This is what I can put my foot into and serve it up with confidence. Here you go, have that. And you can stand by and know they're going to put a smile on your face. What's the meal?
I would say that would be my low country shrimp and grits. That is one, I grew up with grits since a little girl. That's one of those things that you just ate staple. My mama didn't make oatmeal at all. She still doesn't. I don't even know she likes oatmeal cookies. But grits, I've always grown up on. When I got a chance to finally go to culinary school, a little over, it's almost 4 years now that I've been out of school, but about 3.5 years ago when I went to culinary school, doing different things, as graduation approaches, you start picking out pretty much like a signature dish that you want to highlight, because basically you have a showcase where everybody gets to kind of taste your dish. So long story short, my mentor and one of my chefs that was teaching me on the line was Chef Higgins. And she comes from a legacy of chefs, from her grandfather to her father. And she's a female executive chef, which is very hard. It's rare to come by female executive chefs. And so she took me under her wing, and she's from South Carolina. And she goes, okay, well, show me what you do with grits. So, I made it. She's like, okay, it's good. She's like, let me show you what else you can do to elevate it. And I tell you, some of the simple techniques that she showed me how to tweak it every time I make shrimp and grits. And I have probably maybe 20 different styles of shrimp and grits that I do, from barbecue, low country shrimp and grits, which is like your classic. I got Cajun shrimp and grits. I mean, I got different styles, but it's the same technique. People all the time say, what on earth? It's just slightly different. What exactly are you quite doing that may be a little bit different? It's just one of those things that I think you could serve to anyone. And I mean, culturally, I've served that and I've gotten the same feedback, the same love, that the comfort that shrimp and grits do. So I definitely would give them that as one of the courses for sure.
Okay.
And then definitely probably some meat. I'm assuming that I would have some time to plan. I've been obsessed with barbecuing lately. Tenderloin, I've been into. I'm about to get my hand on some tomahawk steaks because I just want to make them. I'm loving this idea of just big pieces of meat going low and slow and just getting that tenderness and just infusing flavors. That's been my big thing. So definitely that with some fancy vegetables, some over-the-top salad, which I definitely love. And then probably some infused water. And then if they decided to have a cocktail, definitely would love to serve them up a cocktail too.
She does drinks too. That's what's
what I
up.
was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Yeah.
keep it clean on this show, but this show is for grown folks. So we can talk about the drinks, but we'll come back to that. Go ahead, Caleb. You was gonna say something.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this conversation. I grew up on grits as well. My mother from Louisiana, right? And grits, fried chicken, greens, fish. We did all of that stuff, right? But I married me a Jamaican girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got grits and they got porridge, right?
Right.
I got I grew up on red beans and rice, and they grew up on rice and peas. That's what they call it, right? They have jerk chicken, and I grew up on fried chicken.
Right.
My favorite is still some Ethiopian food. Ethiopian food
yeah.
has so many flavors, flavors. So Dave, we probably should have talked about. I think you're our first guest that we've ever talked about food, and I'm loving it. Right? Not only can you cook the food, you could cook the food, and while we're waiting, you could serve us up a drink or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Loving it. So who cooks at home? If you're chefing, right? If you're out cooking all day, do you still come home and you continue to cook?
Yes, believe it or not. Now, what's neat is I was telling you guys when we were speaking the other day, I have an incredible partner. He's my best friend. He is the rock. He deals with all my craziness. And he's also, as he said, I had him in the kitchen. That's my boyfriend, Joe. And he loves to eat. He does. He loves to eat. And it's one of those things where it is still it's a joy for me to be able to cook for him. I think at first I thought, no, maybe I'll get tired of this because we've been dating maybe about 3.5 years. And at first, it's that initial thing where he's like, okay, yeah, she can cook. So at first it was always, well, do you think you can make this? And I thought, you're going to keep asking me? Yes, I can make this. I can make that too. So, but I used to just love to watch his expression. And even now, 3 years later, we can still have a full day in the kitchen. And if he still wants, whether it's Hawaiian food, very rare does he want Mexican food. That's a whole other thing. But if he wants something in particular, absolutely, I will do my best to make sure he gets that, because it's that importance of, just like I pour my love into the food that we're cooking for others, and I love that, there's also still that love at home, making sure that I pour that love into our home that we build together. So, you know, he rubs my feet, but he can also cook. As I tell people, you know, every blue moon, he's like, oh, you know what, I guess I'll cook. He'll go and he'll just knock it out of the park. And I thought, really? But he knows that I love Italian food. My dad loved Italian food. So that's kind of what we grew up on. So Joe actually makes a lot of great Italian food for me. He's Salvadorian and he's Mexican. So he makes my favorite Salvadorian breakfast, which I still love to this day, which is plantains, black beans, and a little bit of crema on the side. I can eat that every morning. One of those simple, easy breakfasts. I think I'm back into those comfort, simple dishes. And yeah, I actually will cook at home. It's very rare, but for the most part, absolutely. We post what we eat at night. Thank God we're both being pretty good, because, you know, with COVID, it's easy to pack on the pounds if you keep cooking and eating comfort food. So
you said that his expression is probably like this.
Yes, to some degree, but it's I don't know, it's just something about that joy. And I mean, it is, I still look for that, and I still get joy to watch that. Some of you guys have seen, we have a pit bull, Princess. She's so funny. We tweak her food from time to time, because she's an American red-nosed pit bull, but she needs high protein. So most of your regular dog foods don't have enough protein for her. So we kind of add the extras. But even, I think she's a little special now too. So she likes her added protein. So yeah, we're a full, well-balanced family that's fed.
Yeah, I'll check out YayaRoxie on Instagram. You'll see Princess all over. I see Princess so much I can recognize her. I don't even see the post. Be like, oh, there go Princess. How you doing? Right? I feel like I know. So that's what's up. You know what? Caleb, I just really want to point out. You can see the truth. You can see the love in someone's eye when you hear them talk about things that are meaningful to them. And hearing you talk about food, hearing you talk about Joe. Joe, you're a lucky man. I know you're listening. You should be, because you got a good woman who can cook and who loves to cook and who finds joy bringing you pleasurable meals. Hold on to her, man. Hold on to her, and invite us to the wedding, because let me throw that one out there. Invite us to the wedding when that happens. So hey, check this out. So. I know you're a community girl. I know that, you're all about your area. So I got two questions, really. One, and I'm sure he's watching right now. I got a 15-year-old in my house who wants nothing more than to own his own restaurant. What would you tell somebody like that who's like, hey, that's where I want to go. That's what I want to do. What would you say?
I would say, first of all, everything and anything is always possible. I grew up with that mantra. Before, as you guys mentioned, I just literally got out of culinary school. Like I said, just under 4 years ago. So I haven't been in the kitchen this whole entire time. I'm seasoned. But I remember always holding on to that prayer. We're a praying family. We're a family of faith. Along the way, what I did find is I did what I had to do for the time being. So I've been in HR, and then I was in nonprofit for about 10 years. And anytime that I got to infuse what would light me up, which was food, whether it was planning the menu for classes, being able to cook for people, being able to even order food for people and setting it up nice. I held on to those moments. And at one point, it was one of those things where I think I debated whether school was definitely going to be for me, because, I mean, I was in nonprofit. At the time, I actually was married. Paying bills in California was ridiculous. And culinary school was running, like, literally starting at probably about 75, 80,000. And we're talking about 4 years standard. I mean, you basically are going into debt when you want to make that decision. And I mean, I talking about research of different chefs that had made it. And I kind of went back and forth. When I could do some things on the side, I would, but I stayed with it. And the one thing I think someone always told me is delayed is not denied, which a good friend of mine always kind of taught me even throughout through nonprofit. So when I had the opportunity to go to culinary school, it just happened to be, it was God's timing purely. I got a chance to nonprofit, the program was closing. I got to be able to get on a grant and literally got to go to culinary school for free. Now
Wow.
that's a prayer that I had been praying for probably about 4 years prior to that even taking place. So I would definitely tell him to speak life into his dreams and to look at it. I have a lot of young people that I've had the pleasure of working with in the kitchen. And I would tell them there's different avenues, but you don't necessarily, some people don't get to just wake up into their dreams. There is things sometimes that we have to do what we have to do in order to do what we want to do. And it's still the same satisfaction. Like I wouldn't change the road travel. You know, I hit the ground and I've just been running ever since. And it's just a pure joy, pure pleasure. And then especially being a Black culinary professional is a whole other different ballgame. I knew those things even going into it. Older woman, first of all, I'm a woman, I'm a Black woman. And people of color, not all the times do they get the same opportunities to have leadership in the kitchen. Fortunate enough, after about, a year out of culinary school, I landed in a great kitchen, but I surrounded myself with great relationships, great mentors, and just kind of, like I said, did what I needed to do so I could get where I want. And about a year, maybe a year and a half into my first year out of college, culinary school, I was able to promote to sous chef. You don't usually just jump to that. You know, it's a lot of different opportunities. So, you know, when my family and I celebrated that, where I said, okay, this is the opportunity, you know, before us, we kind of came together, we prayed on it, and I did. Because every step, it's been about making sure that there's faith, making sure that, okay, is it going to teach me what I want to teach, what I want to do? Because anytime you go with something that you've been yearning for, it's easy to just fall for everything. You've got to have that spirit of discretion. And I was just very thankful and fortunate. Not only is it, like I said, the opportunities of leadership, but it's not always about education too. So I always tell people it's kind of like this catch-22, because you have to know what you want for you. You have to know if you want to go the path with school. There's a cost that comes to that. I was fortunate. Now, 4 years of a prayer, it turned out in my favor because that was God's plan for me, not to have to pay for culinary school, which I'm grateful for. But I remember literally touring. I toured culinary school in Vegas. Let's see, Pasadena. I can name you those schools. All of those schools are shut down. And those are the schools that I went into debt over to try to get the same education that I got for free. I don't know if it would be the same road that I have right now. You know what I mean? So that's why I said sometimes it's just a matter of connecting with people, surrounding yourself with those that are in the industry. It's really important. I did maximize those relationships. In my book, relationships are like basically the money in the bank. So whatever drives your son, he could literally create and build something upon it, especially if that's his calling, which I do believe. As long as people kind of walk in that alignment, they do what they need to do, keep that faith, they'll end up where they're supposed to be. That's just the way I think our lives work.
I was going to say, what's Roxie's podcast? Because she got this thing down, man. She figured this thing out.
I have a YouTube channel I'm trying to build.
Okay.
But it ties all those things in together. Because like I said, about prayers, it's not just about cooking, which I love. It's still that joy of being able to cook something, watch somebody's reaction. And then there's that self-satisfaction when you know you nailed it. I don't nail it all the time. And I'm that chef that's going to be honest with you. Not every day is perfect. I drop sauces. Sometimes things get burned and I'm thinking, really? Rookie mistakes, but it happens. It's life. But I love hearing other people's stories, because those are the same stories that inspire me, that keep me inspired.
Right.
A girlfriend of mine that went to school together that graduated, we started a nonprofit program where we give back to the community. We partnered with North Valley Caring Services that operates like one of the biggest food pantries in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, tell us more about that, and tell us more about the community chefs as well.
So the community chefs, what we did is Margot and I went to school together. We literally were on the bus together, finishing classes together, met in school, just connected, became family. Margot's Mexican, I'm Black. And literally, I think just because of our family dynamics, it's almost like this sisterly bond that we have now. And we actually went to the food bank while we were still in school to get some food because basically students are pretty much broke. And we went, they gave us pasta, and the director was Manny, who we met, who's a good friend still to this day. And he said, hey, I've got this Japanese, it was like a steak sauce or something, and says, we can't give this to the community. They literally won't take it. They don't know what to do with it. And I looked at, we looked at ingredients, and literally Margot and I just started that vibe. I was like, oh, you could do this. You could turn this into an aioli. You could do this. And he literally saw the dynamics and said, okay, I need you guys to take this. He goes, I need you to think about a way that you want to give back to the community, which I told him that was my agreement. Because of answered prayer, I knew I would find a way to be able to give back to the community through being able to go to culinary school. So we created this culinary program, pretty much called Community Chefs. The food pantries that they used to be able to host, we used to take ingredients that came in on the truck, and we basically would cook for the community and serve the community. So you're talking about 300 to 400 people every Friday. And sometimes we would get amazing ingredients. Sometimes we would get very strange ingredients, and it would literally about teaching us about what we could create more or less on the healthier side for our community, and to inspire them to go home and cook this for their families. And we expanded that even to the summer program for the youth. So when the youth were at home from school on summer break, we actually created a summer program just to teach them about food, how to grow your food, how do you make salads, how do you build this. We taught them how to make sushi. It was that importance of being able to give back through what we had been blessed with so much. Margot now works at North Valley Caring Services. She works in the kitchen there. COVID has messed it up a lot. So there's no more live cooking demonstrations. So we're revamping and rebuilding on how we tend to give back to the community, but we love that. We partner with foster farms, we partner with different places that we can in order, whether it's about giving back, whether it's cutting boards that we're able to give to families, cookbooks. Champions for Change has been a huge partner, giving us access of things that we could give to the community absolutely free, to inspire healthy eating, how to take what's in your house, literally put together and make a meal to feed your family.
Yeah, thank you for that.
That's amazing. The brothers from the 818, we want to be one of those partners for you. We know that you guys are, that you and your team and Margot, and just hearing your passion for it. And COVID makes it hard. We're all social distance and so forth. Yeah. And like you said, live demonstrations are tough. But we really want to be creative. And, if that's us supporting some efforts so you can do more in the community, or, also heard that you do family meals on Sundays and so forth. Maybe you have a fan base and there's a family that says, hey, I would love the opportunity to take advantage of some family meals from Chef Roxie, but that's not in my budget right now. And you'll be able to find that family, and you'll be able to say, here's your opportunity. And let us, let us do a little something to just, one, show you our thanks, show you our appreciation for coming on the brothers from the 818, and really just sow back into our community, right? Because, Pacoima is where it's at. And
that's right.
As part of our Roses from the Concrete series, you are blooming. I just need you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for sowing back into the community. You guys do a lot. It's just wonderful to see, obviously, just the representation of 818. I think I I was watching one of your shows, and I think you guys were talking about, there's one thing about things that we talk about, and then there's another thing about being about what you're talking about, like put it to action. And definitely want to applaud you guys for doing that, because we have to see that. Young people have to see that. That's what I grew up seeing. I think it's just one of those things because I saw it in my daily life. And I saw that giving back to the community, that's just been programmed in me. It comes very, you know what I mean? Almost just natural. It's like first nature. And we need more of you guys to produce podcasts and get those images out there so the next generation will see that too. You know what I mean? That's how we keep this universe growing. That's how we spread love. That's how we just make it a bigger and better world. We just need it more. So thank you guys for doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've reached that time, Caleb. So you know what's up.
Well, before I go there, I also want to thank Roxie because Roxanne. I want to thank you because you provided a great education for people that may have considered going into culinary and then said, nah, it's not sexy enough. It's not a sexy enough career, right? I learned a lot from just listening to you. I've always known about sous chefs, but I didn't have a great enough appreciation about the leadership that you talked about. You identified like mentors, and you identified people that you looked up to, and you still have those relationships now. And I don't know if I've ever associated culinary with the same kind of balance that other career paths have. And so I really appreciate you talking about the cost of culinary and all of the other educational pieces about being patient and just praying on it as well, because people kind of find their path and then they just stick to it, kind of like what I did in with my career. So thank you for that. David did say that it is about that time, and if you know what time it is, I'm going to ask you, Roxie, what you listening to?
Okay, so let me tell you, in the kitchen you got to have music. Okay, you just, I think only one kitchen we didn't have music in. It was the saddest, I think 12 days of no music ever. Yeah. But anyways, right now, that's what Joe and I were talking about. We have been on this hip hop kick. I would say probably like late 80s, early 90s hip hop. But literally my playlist is mixture. It can be salsa music. It can be classical. Sometimes it just depends on maybe what I'm cooking. But for like the last 2 weeks, because we've been on this groove, meal prep, family dinners, it's been literally the late 80s, early 90s hip hop. We've been really grooving to LL Cool J.
Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys too. So it's been like this mixture, but I want to say it's like this hip hop vibe that we literally just kind of stop, get our little groove and rock on, and then it's like, okay, finish cranking out this food.
That's the golden age of hip hop. Dave, what are you listening to?
Man, I've been preparing for tomorrow, and so I broke out.
Big day.
12 years ago, Seal, I think it was Seal, he did a remix of Barack's inauguration speech with a song or something, and I didn't like it. So I redid it myself with a track from Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come. And so I found that in my library, and I started listening to that. That led me back into my Malcolm speeches. And then in honor of Martin Luther King Day, we didn't mention that at all. That was yesterday. In honor of Martin Luther King Day, I was just listening to some speeches, man, and just getting that inspiration of just, how far we've come, what we've been through, and having a hope for what is to come, right? And so one of the things that Dr. King said is, and he was talking about his death, really. He was just saying, don't tell people about my Nobel Peace Prize, nor the 300 or 400 other prizes I've won. What you tell them is that I was willing to sacrifice it all for the love of my people.
Right.
And I was like, wow, you know, because nobody has been able to say that since that time. And that's a whole nother show. But I've been listening to speeches, man, just again, building up that hope. I truly believe, and not that I'm such a huge fan of the next administration. I believe in it. I have hope for it, you know, but I'm just glad to be out of the current one. And that's what I've been listening to. So what about you? What you been listening to?
Hey man, thank you for bringing up Dr. Martin Luther King, man, and just kind of acknowledging that, just as acknowledging the holiday that we just recently celebrated. And I also want to mention that it's important for you and I, as we move forward, to hold this upcoming administration accountable too. All right.
That's
And so we're going to do that as well. And I'm not sure if I'm such a big fan either, but I am glad that we have a change that is coming. I've been listening to some Sade. My wife, for some reason, she's been throwing on Beethoven. I'm like, what's going on?
nice. No, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, you like that? Right. Okay. All right.
It
So
kind of helps you get those thoughts balanced.
all right.
Good
Cool.
to have that every now and then.
What's up?
No, that is what's up. Thank you, Roxie. I appreciate you for coming on. You know, I had a whole list of other questions for you. I was going to ask you about not only keys, because I heard you mention that your sister went to McClay, and we like to big up everybody that's repping the 818 and 91331. I was going to ask you about Rib Rack. I was going to ask you about now Big Pops over there, that's in the same spot where Rib Rack is.
Right.
But that's for another time. Dave, bring us
That's
out here.
So you've been kicking it with the brothers from the 818. This is the first intro into our Roses from the Concrete series, where we got to interview the lovely, wonderful, and talented Chef Roxie. Little Rocks from the 9133.
That's right.
Roxanne. Oh, we're gonna have this. So we're gonna have memes and everything with it. So we enjoyed that time. Hey, if you're checking this out live, forgive the errors. It's all love. We're just trying to make it happen. We will be recast on YouTube tomorrow. When you watch that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content. And that's for all of you YayaRoxie fans out there as well.
That's right.
We know you got a whole slew of people that's going to be checking us out. But y'all have seen this before. We're on every streaming channel available, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon. If you're in your car, it will definitely keep you smiling, keep you laughing, keep you entertained. More importantly, keep you informed.
That's right.
We bring you the raw, we bring you the real, we bring you the relevant. And we're glad we got to just share a piece of our community with you today. So on that note, one other thing for the people, I need some input. We got our merchandise going on.
Oh, that's cute.
So this is a hat I had made up, and you guys see the logo on the top. I'm still wondering about it. Not really. I don't know if I'm feeling it, liking it, not liking it, seeing what's up. I'm willing to take feedback. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Let me know what you think. I've always got creative thoughts and ideas. And if somebody's really feeling it and you want it, I'll sign it. I'll have Caleb sign it and I'll send it to you.
Nice.
Right. So, because we want you to be able to rep brothers.
I want one.
Too. She said, I'll take one. I'll take one.
I'll take one.
If you'll rep it, we'll send it to you.
Absolutely.
But we thank you guys for coming out and hanging with us. We really thank you, Roxie, for just sharing this time with us and helping bring the brothers from the 818 to the light. And we hope we can do the same for you. And Chef Roxie and Happy Insides. I don't even think we got to mention that. And Sunday meals. I am definitely looking forward. I'm not Barack, but I do have my very own Michelle. Her name is Ilana. And I would love to bring her out there and get me a Sunday family meal and handle that. And so we want to be a support for you as well.
Absolutely. Be my pleasure too. Thank you.
Absolutely. So for the rest of y'all, you know how we do it now. We thank y'all for coming out. God bless. Good night.
Good night.
You are down with
The brothers from the 818.